I think Manosphere is male feminism. They male feminists. That's what I think. I think at first when it started, it was necessary. I think it was needed. Like feminism, probably when it started, probably was necessary and it probably was a good thing. But just like anything else, um, like feminism, a lot of times people start talking. The hurt people start taking over. The trauma start taking over. And I think now, like these guys, they might say they don't, but you're responding like you really hate women. You're not responding like you want to find solutions. You're responding like you just want an opportunity to have an argument with a woman and you want to win it.
It's supposed to free men. A lot of it's putting us right back in a box for real. So I agree with what he said. They had a purpose at the beginning, but I think it's a little bit out of hand. It's the wrong people at the front of it.
Women will conform to what they want. You've just got to be able to provide something that someone wants, and then they'll contort themselves to fit in whatever, especially like the receiving aspect of who women are. They'll contort themselves to fit in whatever aspect box that you require if you're actually wanted.
And so even the start of feminism, in a large part, in my mind, was caused by chump men.
Yeah.
And so women stepped in to fill a role that the men were not filling. In a lot of cases, I realize we're painting with a broad brush,
Sure.
And it's just a big cycle.
Yep.
And then what you get is you get that pendulum.
Yes.
Okay. You get men who back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking back in 1800s, 1700s, were tyrants.
Yeah.
Okay. They were just tyrants. Women had enough. And so they stepped in and the pendulum went up here. All right. So you've got this garbage that we have today. And so now you've got your manosphere guys who are trying to swing that pendulum back, but now they're swinging it plumb back up here.
Right.
And what we need is this balance in the middle where we respect and honor women and stand up to them. All right. But we be men. We don't place everything of the blame in the feet of women.
Right.
But we don't abdicate our position either.
Right.
And so there's that balance, and everybody in their place and in their life, they have to find that balance for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't, everybody doesn't color the same coloring book.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
And there is a complete gross abuse today by women of what women started, the original feminist movement, okay? But then there is a gross abuse by men in response to the abuse of the women.
Yeah.
And so everybody's just abusing everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, if you get online and you look at the feminist and you look at the manosphere and you look at this, and everybody's just abusing everybody.
Yeah.
If a man can, number one, become secure in himself, not arrogant, calmly, quietly, gently secure,
Yes.
and reach out and start helping a young man here and helping a young man, I don't think we can put all this in balance again. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Okay, but I'm not out here. I'm just right here.
Right.
Here's my sphere, and I think I can help put this back in balance.
Yes.
And if I help put my little sphere back in balance, and you help put your little sphere back in balance, and on around, it grows.
Yeah.
Okay, it grows. But it's only going to be when men find the balance. You've got to find the grace to deal with women who've been led astray, women who've been done wrong by other men. And you have to combine that with a strength to stand up and say, look, I understand, but you're not treating me like that.
Yeah.
For a lot of that, okay. But for the very last part, that is the only thing that I always speak about. That's why I always say this is for me. Like, this is my truth. This is what I want. This is what I want for my life. I can't speak on what people in other relationships should do. I know what affects me and what makes sense, like, in my life. I think that we should stop trying to fix the problem as a blanket, because there's no blanket solution for something that's so convoluted. You can fix your the things that you are closest to. Fix your life. You can advocate for your people. Like, fix your bubble. And if we all fix our bubbles, like, I agree with that logic, because I'm always talking about me, because I can't change anyone. I can't change anyone's reality but mine. Like, I know what type of man I'm looking for. I can't tell the next woman how to find her man, how to treat her man. Don't do this and don't do that. I ask questions, I give advice, and I tell her, do what's best for you. I can't tell you anything, but I can advise you. I can tell you what I've experienced, but I also do not ever tell people you need to leave him unless that man put his hands on you, and then you need to get far, far away. That's all I got.
So Bo, real quick. Um, Now, I spoke to that a bit earlier, where I do agree that there are different types of men, and what it is that you're looking for. If you were very intentional about it, you could. I truly believe you could find that. However, even with that, I do think there are some baseline things that we should have across the board, right?
Mhm.
I think that that structure that we were talking about earlier, we do need that. I think that's what our community is missing. I think that's what we see in other communities that works, that have some thriving, and we don't, because we're not on code, because we don't have a structure, we don't have things that we promote and things that we don't accept, right? And it doesn't mean that we're going to dictate your lifestyle, but there should be certain things in place, certain disciplines, certain actions that we take collectively. I think we have to, at some point, we have to have some type of structure, something that we accept universally. I think we really do.
I mean, but honestly, that's got to be something that is, like he said, a broad brush. Like it, but I think the problem that I'm having is that a lot of men, not the men up here, but a lot of men that I hear uh out in, especially TikTok streets, it's like they want every little line item. Like, they want to dictate what a feminine woman is. Every little line. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And for men, women do it. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't. And I'm like, y'all have to stop, because what one woman doesn't want, another woman does. And so, yes, we need to have like baseline things, but it can't be all of these
So
requirements.
we're talking about principles, right? We're not talking about superficial shit, because a lot of things
Right.
that people say are superficial, and I think that's stupid and unrealistic, because we just don't have the numbers of those types of people that the opposite sex is looking for, and that's on both sides, right?
Hmm.
And then you have to understand what you qualify for based on what it is that you offer, right? And a lot of us don't want to deal with that reality. Like, you can't get every type of man you want, right? And there's going to be some concessions, unless people aren't compromising by getting with you. That goes for both men and women. A lot of men who are on TikTok, and TikTok is a different type of animal, right? Those TikTok people are different, right? So for the most part, it's a different world when you go into TikTok. And I mean, just from some of the things and what how TikTok goes, and like the conspiracy theory shit and the trends, the group sevens and goofy shit like that, that actually sticks to the wall. It lets me know that it's a different type of people, right? And this isn't just young people, because I see it's not the generational thing, because I know somebody would probably say that, but it's not, because I see old ass dudes, I see people in their 40s, I see people in their 50s, people with gray ass beards and shit doing the same things in the same weird ways. So it's not a generational thing. I truly believe that TikTok people are just cut from a different cloth. The people who really just sit up there and do they shit is
Hmm.
different. And I don't want you to, and I know you might spend most of your time on there as far as social media is concerned. I could be wrong, but if you do, if maybe you watch YouTube more, okay. But a lot of people, when you get into the TikTok world, it will give you a different perception of reality. In all honesty, it's different. Like the shit that you see on there is very different than what happens in real life. And I've seen it just because of me not really being in there and then jumping in there and seeing like, what the fuck? It's different, right? And I'll jump back on the Instagram. You'll see some weird shit there too. You'll see some weird shit in YouTube, and then what you see in real life is completely different, right? A lot of people's alter egos are on there, and it's a lot of bullshit, right? People say you could get on there. There's no governing, right? Anybody can literally, with the phone in their hand, could say whatever it is that they want. They don't have to have any knowledge. They don't have to be well read. They don't have to study this. They don't have to do anything. They could be a little bit charismatic or not, or just say certain trigger words. They might know how to freak the algorithm and get their shit off. And because a lot of people say it or a lot of people view it, then you might think that it's valid. A lot of times people are grifting, and it's a whole multitude of reasons why we shouldn't take what we see on TikTok seriously. But I think you got boots on the ground. I know I do. Gentlemen on the panel do. We see what's really going on out here. We see what it is that we need to improve on, and no matter what, it's certain things that we should be in agreement on, no matter what. Baseline, right? Fathers, I think everybody in the panel would say fathers probably should be with their kids. I think you shouldn't get any woman pregnant who you don't plan on being with for the duration of that child's childhood, right? I think that everybody would be in a consensus with that. Let's just say we just started right there. Even if we just left it there and said, fuck everything else, right? For now. And we just started with that and corrected that. We already up one just from that alone. And certain principles like that, how to get your finances right, certain things we could agree on. It ain't how you're supposed to run your household. It ain't how you're supposed to live your life. We're not into that. I don't think that's even the conversations we should have. But as far as us being contributing to society and being better men and women, we should have them standards.
I agree.
I think Manosphere is male feminism. They male feminists. That's what I think. I think at first when it started, it was necessary. I think it was needed. Like feminism, probably when it started, probably was necessary and it probably was a good thing. But just like anything else, like feminism, a lot of times people start talking. The hurt people start taking over. The trauma start taking over. And I think now, like these guys, they might say they don't, but you're responding like you really hate women. You're not responding like you want to find solutions. You're responding like you just want an opportunity to have an argument with a woman and you want to win it, right? That's what I see most of the time. But like I said, I believe that at its core, it probably was a good thing at one point because women probably was out of control. Feminism probably got out of control, and then you had another radical group, another radical thing that started. So yeah, I think it's just male feminism.
That's a good point. I agree with homie. I think the red pill movement, to me, in my mind, I always associated red pill with just knowledge of self and seeing through the lies of life, period. Whether it be nutrition, whether it be women, whether it be religion, whether it be government, whether it be anything that's a part of your reality, getting a higher understanding of it. But eventually, it just turned into straight dealing with women. And I agree. I think it's gotten way, way out of hand till you got young. I done seen young men at 18, 17 just come to like stone cold conclusions about how they're going to live their life according to these rules of what they think a high value man is, and like all these things that then it's kind of put men in. It's supposed to free men, but a lot of it is putting us right back in a box for real. So now I agree with what he said. They had a purpose at the beginning, but I think it's a little bit out of hand. It's the wrong people at the front of it.
Yeah, you already know I agree. I agree with real dope. Before we even start talking, people in the chat like, oh yeah, they simping now. Ooh. It's a thing, bro, that some people view men and women as adversaries right out the gate. We made no comment, but if you thought it was gonna be a balanced take where it wasn't these women are bad and won't follow nobody and that we just automatically lying or simping or pandering or doing something like that. That's an issue when men can't operate in a way where they can figure out how they could deal with women. Like, straight men want to deal with women. Other straight men want to deal with women. And if you find ways to fight with women or to convince other men how not to deal with women, bro, it's something weird about that to me. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't put nothing specifically on you, but if your whole thing is, under no circumstances can women be good, and I can't, but that's a problem. That's the same thing as women saying they hate men and don't want to birth male babies. And if you can't see that you're doing that, that's even worse, because you down a whole rabbit hole going crazy, swinging in the air, and you don't think it's a problem. You're not going to recover from that. Like, I'll admit I have a biased perspective because my interactions with women have not been negative enough for me to even have any of that sentiment. But even still, you attract the attitude that you exude. So if you putting this type of energy out and you steady meeting with disrespectful, mean women who have attitude problems with you all the time, there may be more to that than just the woman is disrespectful and got an attitude problem, especially if not everyone is having the exact same experience. I don't know, man.
Not Mark, you right. You right.
Yeah, all I know is life is better when you have somebody that you could be with and have love and a family and all of that. And to rob yourself of that, and then man or woman rob your friends or the people in your surrounding community of that for whatever reason is weak as fuck to me. That's yeah.
Don't let a woman who's scorn you, or woman acting out of control, turn you into a hoe, right? It's a lot of men that be in the comments and all, like, a lot, and in the red pill space, who, like, they turn into hoes, right? They start and they match a woman's energy, right? I believe that if you about to correct something, you correct it, you shut it down, right? But it turned into this going back and forth, tick for tack thing. I think men, you shut it down, right? You don't argue. I'm saying, I don't know if that makes sense, but I see it's just matching a woman's energy. And I think that's really what this shit is. Like, even when I see men being unreasonable, I think that's matching a woman's energy, right? I think men are leaders. I think men slow down. I think we should be tactical. A lot of the guys, they just say shit. They just say whatever as soon as it come to their mind, like an emotion. They just say it. They throw it out there. Like when they may be calling us simps, right? Because they're not thinking, they're not being tactical. All of the data, they just talking about what they just felt in that moment, and they throw it out there. That's whole shit. And I think that men should get better. That's what women do. They say something and they apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that earlier.
So, Mont, right? I mean, you and M. White have thoroughly articulated the problem. You said do better, right? Now, what's that look like? How do you become, a loving, masculine man who appreciates women versus, what you just described? What's the first thing what's the first step they should take towards going to?
You're asking the right question. I think the first thing you always should do is look inward and make yourself better. That's the first. That's for me. I'm always going to look inward and make myself better. I'm always going to make myself a better leader. I'm always going to ask myself, what am I doing wrong? I might not be the problem. I'm still going to ask myself what I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna figure it out. Listen better, right? I remember earlier we was talking about yo, don't listen to women, right? I 1000% agree with that. But we need to hear our women, hear them, see what they're talking about, take it into consideration, right? Sometimes you might yell, you might be doing homework with your kids. You might start raising your voice. You might later on think about it, process it. Damn, I shouldn't have did that. And I shouldn't, maybe I should have reacted differently to that. I don't think a lot of men are doing that. I think that's one of the steps we can take. Slow down, think, process, pride yourself on processing information. A lot of us are not doing that. Pride yourself on being a good coach, listening to who's around you and putting them in the best position, to be successful in your unit. I think these are things that are helpful.
You know what? I want to touch on that part because I think people may have heard it differently, right? When men say don't listen to women, generally men who operate like that don't listen to anybody, right? So I'm one of those dudes who don't listen to anybody. I'm always the leader of any situation, right? So you got to, and that's why I said not every man is that. Not every man operates like that. But I generally don't listen to people unless you are like a master at something that I need to listen to you on. I'm not even trying to do that shit. Anything that I operate in, I'm usually the leader. These are the type of men who talk like that, people who lead situations. So when you get with that particular woman, right, she understands this is something that you've already earned. You've earned her trust, and she trusts in you to handle that situation. It's not that it's not a dictatorship by any means. It's just that this is my position, and this is actually part of my covering, to where you don't even have to think. You can, but you don't have to, because that's how good you are, that I'm going to take care of the situation to where you could just really rest easy. That's what men are doing. It's not to say, we just want to negate what it is your whole thought process is that if you get with a man who is a true leader, right, then he's probably not trying to hear that shit.
I think you're speaking from a different perspective, and I think that the perspective that
that's right, and that's what.
But real quick, I think the perspective that you're speaking from is the one that the girls were talking about earlier, right? What you're saying is, because I observe you, right? You absolutely do listen. You absolutely do intake information. You absolutely are reasonable in the way that you behave yourself, in the way that you have conversations. You have real dialogue, right? But there are a lot of people, not even just men, a lot of people, it's a human thing, right? To not take in information, to think that whatever is already in your mind is all the information that you need, right? For example, I might say something that's so different from what you're used to hearing, and the nigga's gonna reject it immediately, right? They're not gonna think like, oh, maybe it's something to do that. Let's let them talk. They're not gonna do that. They're just gonna be like, that's some bullshit. It's some bullshit, right? But I'll have a conversation with anybody because I'm genuinely interested in the other perspective. I'm always genuinely. A lot of people are not like that. A lot of people don't believe that you should have a conversation even if you don't agree with the person. They don't believe that. But I think that you should. I think that's what leaders do. Leaders go to the table with people that they may not like. You go to that table, you sit down, you discuss, you talk, you do business. It is what it, a lot of guys not on that.
So I think from my perspective, to answer your question, Trevor, on what it is the man could do, really you're gonna have to find yourself in community with people who actually appreciate you. So if your mothers and sisters and cousins don't treat you with respect as a man, you're gonna have to remove yourself or pull back from them, because you should be getting respected just in general for what it is that you provide for your family. Make yourself useful so that people feel your absence when you do remove yourself, and then make yourself valuable in ways when it comes to dating. That women will conform to what they want. You've just got to be able to provide something that someone wants, and then they'll contort themselves to fit in whatever, especially like the receiving aspect of who women are. They'll contort themselves to fit in whatever aspect box that you require, if you're actually wanted, and they genuinely want what you have to offer. I think putting yourself in rooms where people actually want what you have is probably the key to it. Don't force yourself in places. Don't force your ideology on somebody. If they don't agree with you, they don't want to deal with what you got going on. Just remove yourself. Don't allow them to abuse you. Don't allow them to put you in positions where you feel like you're not being respected or heard, or your words is checked. Just put yourself in a good position to win, and try and filter through life like that, as far as your interpersonal relationship that you have control over setting up. Not at work, but anything that's optional that you can choose to do. Be around people that value you. Be around people that can appreciate what you have going on, so you can foster some type of feeling of community that's reciprocal. If you're in places where no one respects what you say, or you feel like people are attacking you all the time, you got to remove yourself from that for your mental health, because you'll just walk through the world projecting that on the other people. I heard somebody say, every time I see a black woman at a cash register, or I run into a black woman at a customer service job, she just got an attitude, and she always angry, mean, nasty, and rude. I'm like, what? Most black women I see hook me up. Like they be cool. Now you might catch somebody on a bad day or something, but for the most part, they just be chilling, and they be like not formal with, you know what I'm saying? But if you walking through the world believing that all of these women is gonna be angry, all of these women that have an attitude, there's it's energy that follows you while thinking that. It's not just you thinking it and then let's see what happens. The way you view the world, your perspective is shaped through the things that you believe and the way and it precedes you. There's an energy transfer that occurs. And if the energy transfer is negative, a lot of times you'll get that back. And even I've done it where I'll be in a good mood. I see somebody in a clearly bad mood. You speak to them and then they don't say anything. And now your mood might momentarily shift. Man, fuck you. You can't walk through life with that energy and expect positive results. So yeah, you're gonna have to just work on yourself and put yourself in positions where you're respected and remove yourself from the ones you're not.
I appreciate both your answers because I think somebody probably needed to hear that, right?